Hey guys, Roman Sliders here with a new episode of Player's Perspective, the interview series where I talk to fellow YouTubers and find out what makes them tick. Today's guest is a vlogger who also happens to work at one of the top new media companies in Los Angeles. He's a pretty laid-back guy, and if he was any more chill, he'd probably be frozen. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Aldrin Gamos. Aldrin, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. I'm about to head off to New Zealand in a few days, so I'm busy packing.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm sort of in upload mode at the moment, trying to get all my stuff on YouTube so it can play
Yeah,
out over the next few weeks while I'm away.
yeah. I know that feeling.
Yeah, so I've just been doing nothing but uploading all weekend. So, Aldrin, you work in the social division of RPM and Maker Studios, is that right?
That's correct.
And what sort of things do you do exactly?
Well, I was really the first one brought on to do the social media for RPM because Maker Studios in general has its own social media is pretty established with all the other
Mm,
subdivisions of Maker Studios. So for me, I was the one who was brought on to do social media specifically for RPM. So I was given the task of creating the voice of how people are going to see RPM and how we're going to sound throughout all of our social media. So I started like the Twitter, the Facebook, and brought on like the Pinterest and Instagram and Vidi, along with I got a lot of help from Ali, who
mm.
is yeah, she's seen and we co-host a lot of the videos together. So we, I was the first one brought on, and then we kind of created RPM social media and how people see us. So that's pretty much what I do on a day-to-day basis.
So you manage all the social media accounts.
Yeah.
Cool. And so sort of how did you get into that job? It seems like a pretty great job to have.
Yeah, I actually, before I got this job specifically, I was just always like a social media freak. I like, yeah, I had like all my accounts, personal accounts just for me because I liked doing it.
Mhm.
So I kind of just taught myself all the tips and tricks on how to, use social media. And through that, I kind of self-built my resume. And it was hard to, after I graduated from college, which was in 2010, it
Mhm.
was hard to find a job here.
Yeah.
And specifically in social media and in Los Angeles, because a lot of people want to do that.
Mm.
So yeah, like for me, it was just teaching myself how to do it because I liked having my own accounts and using it for my own personal reasons. And then I started looking at it, how to use it through for a company because a lot of companies were starting to, use it more seriously because I think as social media started off, people thought it was just, just for fun and nothing that can be, used advantageously for a company. But I kind of just like bought books for myself to see how I could, improve and think how would a
Mm.
company use it. And then, are you familiar with VidCon?
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
It's where
so
all the
VidCon,
it's like a convention where all the YouTubers get together, don't they?
yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
it's probably the biggest YouTube convention on the West Coast because
Mm.
there's different types of YouTube, gathering things all over the world. But for VidCon, I think that's the biggest one on the West Coast, and it was my first time going this year, and that was when I got introduced to Maker Studios in
Mm.
general because I had known some Maker Studios talent, and I had watched them, but I didn't really get the whole idea of YouTube networks because it was still pretty new. It still is pretty new, the whole idea of them.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
Maker Studios, yeah, Maker Studios had a really big presence at VidCon, and I was like, whoa, like it would be cool to work for them one day. So I kept throughout my job search, I looked at Maker Studios, but never really thought that it would happen. But I submitted an application one day, and then months later, not like instantaneously, but months later, they called me back and offered me not they didn't offer me the RPM position because RPM is still pretty new, and
Pretty
back
new,
then,
yeah. It
yeah,
was just being set up, yeah.
yeah, it was just being set up, and my position specifically wasn't already established when I had interviewed the first time. I actually had three interviews, and it just ended up being, perfect timing that I sent in my application when I did, and RPM was starting when it did, and I had the experience that I had. So it was just a lot of, I feel very lucky to have that job because I know that a lot of people they want that. So I'm like,
Mm,
I always pinch myself that I get to go to work every day and like doing what I'm doing.
mm. So did you sort of apply through the official channels, like sending your resume through to the job email address and stuff?
Yeah, I applied straight through, or I found the job straight through Maker Studio's website, and I
Mm-hmm.
sent in there was an email address, and I sent in my resume, and yeah, they didn't call me for, like I said, like a couple months, but
Mm,
eventually they did.
cool. So so I hear that you've been currently been engaged in a game of Assassins. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty
And
intense.
yeah, I can imagine being in a state of constant paranoia and looking over your shoulder.
Yeah,
So was that just for fun? That someone just came up with that idea?
yeah. I guess they had done it before I was ever part of
Mm,
the company, but recently we moved into a much larger building,
mm,
so it made playing an Assassin's game a lot more fun, I guess. And it's starting off pretty small. I think it's actually still going on. Um, there was a group of like maybe 15 and 20 people that started off, but Maker is a lot larger than that. So I feel like the people that didn't join in the first time are gonna, join in the next time because they see us like sneaking around
yeah.
and having these shoot offs. But I actually just recently got eliminated.
Oh,
So yeah, but
yeah.
it was still pretty fun. Although, like, I couldn't really focus too much because I was always looking behind my back.
Yeah, it's sort of a thing where I guess it's a double-edged sword where the anonymity can help you because you can just say, "Oh, I'm just patrolling the area," and then just walk up to your target and just get them. But I guess it
Yeah.
can sort of backfire on you as well.
Yeah, I actually had a lot of things going against me the first
Mm-hmm.
time because yeah, when the first day that we were given our targets, I found out that not only did I not know who I was supposed to go after, he was working in a spot where it's like he's like an editor for Maker Studios, and there's a specific editing room
Oh,
that only the editors
yeah,
go in.
it's
So
just
if I
it's,
were to go in there, yeah,
it would
if
look a
I were
bit
to go in there,
suspicious. Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, what am I gonna do? And then I was asking around the people that I did know who knew him, what he looked like, and it just so happened that right when I asked someone, he stepped out of the editing room, and then I was able to get him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not
Yeah.
and for the person who was going after me, it's like some people are not really as known in the company because it's so huge.
hmm
But for me, I'm like on the RPM channel, so if someone wanted to find out who I was, they just had to look that up, and it would have been pretty easy for them, even if they didn't know me, to
mm
find out who I was. So, but it was fun. It was
Yeah.
fun while I lasted.
So, you mentioned that you've recently moved into a new building. So, is that all of Maker now situated there? Like Maker the game station? Because I'm guessing, like, uh, for example, there's probably a different building for the production end of it as well as the network side of things.
Yeah, we actually had three different buildings prior to the move, and we're still keeping our main production building. But for the most part, everyone that's not in that building is going to be moved. It's like it's not completely done. We're still not completely done with the new building, but everyone ideally is going to be in the same under the same roof.
Nice. So, you have a alongside your job working the social media accounts, you also present some of the RPM videos as well with Ali. So how did you get that job as well?
I guess because Ali, she approached me one day because I didn't really know her when I first started. And she approached me one day with some ideas on how to, like really spice up the RPM because before when it was just me, I was pretty much just like trying to see what worked for RPM and what didn't.
Yeah,
Just
seeing
really a
what's
lot of
stuck. Yeah.
yeah. So for her, she had some ideas and we planned it all out. And we actually came up with a plan to have each day of the week focus on a specific social media site.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually did a video on that a while back.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so she really helped me like flesh out what would work best and how to really, go all out with RPM social media. And I guess she had a lot of experience. Ali's been with Maker Studios for a while, and she has had experience in front of the camera, and she actually did the very first video for
Oh
RPM.
yes, I remember seeing that. Yeah, she was wearing
Yeah, it was the
glasses and all that.
introduction
Yeah.
video. Yeah, yeah, that was her. So, I guess that the director of the videos wanted to, keep it consistent with Ali, and they also invited me to do the social media video since I
Mm-hmm.
was the social media guy. And I guess it ended up working out really well that we had this chemistry going on, and they thought, why don't we do more videos together? And then I
Yeah.
just kind of had that additional position as it's not really official, but I'm like one of the hosts of RPM. That's not like my official title, but I'm pretty much in any videos that I'm able to be in. Like Ali does, she's exclusively doing How to YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
which we recently launched.
Started on
But
Wednesday. Yeah.
yeah, and for me, I'm mostly in the behind RPM videos. So it kind of just stuck that like we and I they the directors and producers of the RPM shows, they noticed that like I like doing videos and I have my own channel, so it
Mm-hmm.
just seemed like, it made sense to keep me uh on camera. So and I
Yeah.
like I love doing it, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
went with that.
Yeah, I think it's really cool how you two have came up with that idea, and I think you two really bounce off each other and got a good dynamic going, so it makes for good viewing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if someone who doesn't know, could you describe what RPM is and how it's related to Maker as a whole?
Yeah. So it first started with Maker, and Maker is known as a YouTube network that's mainly for larger channels. So we have, like Epic Rap Battles and
Hmm.
Glozell and Jay Carl. So they're noticeably larger than most YouTube channels because they started early on in the game. So TGS, the game station, branched out of that, and that's pretty much like Maker, but
But
for
just
gaming
for
exclusive.
gaming stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So Maker and TGS are for larger channels, and as YouTubing became popular, because people, I think when YouTube started off, it was mostly there was a very small people amount of
Mm,
people creating videos for people to watch, and there were a large amount of people watching. But then as the years went by, people were like, "Oh, I can make videos on YouTube."
mm,
So now there's a lot of people creating,
yeah.
um, but they're not the way that the partnership program started off. They weren't getting the views required to be like a YouTube partner.
Mm,
So somewhere along the line, the partnership program changed, and there a lot of smaller channels that were doing really well, but not well enough to get a partnership. They existed, but they felt like they couldn't really go anywhere. So for
mm,
RPM specifically, it was created for the smaller channels that want to get to Maker or TGS, but they need a little bit of help. So that's pretty much what RPM is. We try to help smaller channels get more views, more subscribers, and try to help them with their YouTube career.
mm. So, how would you define a small channel? I mean, is there like something in terms of statistics, or what would you say?
Um, well, specifically for RPM, we there's a minimum amount of views that's required to become a
Hmm.
partner with us. For each network, it's different. Um, but yeah, it's hard to tell because like I know that Full Screen has their version of a network for developing channels. So each network looks for their own different thing, but and I can't really give out numbers
No,
specifically
of course not.
what's required, but it's just it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to say what classifies as a smaller channel, but most channels are smaller channels.
Yeah. So you say you provide assistance for small channels to grow. So does that mean that there is room for those channels to move into the larger networks, for example, like Maker or TGS?
Yeah, that's ideally what we want to achieve is we want them to graduate because that is possible. And we've had some people go from RPM to either TGS or Maker.
Hmm.
So it's really great to see that it actually works. Obviously, it's not going to be where like everyone's going to be able to go. It's still like you have to put in a lot of work and you have to really, make your channel stand out. But ultimately, we would like to help every channel that wants to get to, Maker or TGS because we know that that's usually what people want when they start off. They don't want to start with RPM,
Mm,
but they realize that it's kind of a necessary step nowadays because everyone wants to get to, the
yeah,
big
of
networks.
course.
And since RPM is with Maker Studios, it is, I feel like it's a little bit of an advantage because like, we have the talent in Maker and TGS and it's just I think we have a lot of things going for us, which is good because it helps
Mm.
me out with, developing social media. So yeah.
Beforehand, I see you went to the University of Los Angeles, California. That's UCLA. So,
Mhm.
have you always lived in California, or did you kind of move here?
No, I've always been in Southern California. I actually don't live too far from UCLA, so I didn't go far for college. Yeah, I was born in Southern California, raised in Southern California. I don't know if I would ever leave because I love it so much, but yeah, Maker Studios, it works out for me that it's in the LA area, so um, I haven't really lived anywhere else.
Mm. Yeah, so I guess you are really lucky where you're sort of located because you get to go to the place where you work, and it must be really awesome.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad because as social media, I post out sometimes when we have like job openings for Maker
Mm. Yeah,
Studios, and
I've seen those.
yeah, yeah, we have like an international, audience and follower base. So it makes me sad when people can't apply for the job, or it's, it's harder for them because they don't live as close as I do. So it ended up working out for me that Maker Studios was, really close to me.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of like where you're talking about job openings, are there any people working there who have had to like relocate from another country, let's say? Or
I know that we've had people come from different states. I don't know about countries specifically, but I'm assuming that if we really needed, the top people to be in Maker Studios, we try to get them there because we have a lot of talented people. So
mm,
I don't know specifically any people, but I'm sure there's probably some people from different countries. But I do know that states, yes, there's people that have come from different states to work for Maker.
yeah. So if we talk more about your current channel, which is the AldyWaldy, you post vlogs about sort of all sorts. We see you a lot at work and also various products that you get. And I see you sort of been vlogging on various channels since about 2008. Is that right?
Yeah, I had my first channel was I started a few years ago because the AldyWaldy had started in 2012.
Hmm.
So the channel that I currently use is it's fairly young. But I did have an older channel that I use that mainly to like watch videos on because when I started YouTube, I was just a viewer.
Hmm.
I didn't really create but it was weird. I don't know if you've seen my old channel, but I did have a
Yes, I saw.
viral video.
Yes, no, yes, I
Yeah,
saw that. It was the squirrel. Yeah.
yeah. So that one was really just an accident. I think for my YouTube, I posted just whatever clips, I thought would be fun. Because for me, it wasn't really to get an audience. It was just to share videos that I had with my current friends, not like, try to get the attention of the
Hmm.
world. But with that one video, it actually wasn't even supposed to be what it ended up being. I was just recording just because I thought it was cute. And like later that night, I was like, I have iMovie. I'll try to make a movie out of it. So yeah, like I spent a couple of hours editing it, and then I uploaded it. Yeah, so I had uploaded that video, and all of a sudden I saw the views going up by the thousands, and I was really confused. Um, and then before I knew it, like Japanese TV stations were contacting me about, featuring it on their channel, and one even interviewed me on Skype. So
Wow.
that, yeah, I had never done that before, and it was a very unusual experience, but it was really cool, especially because they gave me a DVD copy of the segment. So that was a fun. I didn't understand
Yeah.
what they were saying, but I saw my face, and I could just guess that they liked the video.
Yeah.
And even like in America, it was I think it was on Good Morning America, although I wasn't awake to watch that, and they didn't
Hmm.
send me a clip of when the footage was shown. But it got a good amount of coverage in America as well. It was on the front page of Yahoo twice, once as one of the best videos of 2009. So that was really cool. Um, but yeah, that was really my first kind of um, experience of looking at YouTube as more of a community rather than,
Mm.
just, one way viewing as TV is, because people were sending me comments about how they thought or what they thought of the video. And I responded to a few, and I was like, wow, like, there's people that are actually, interacting with each other, because people had referred to YouTube as a social media network. And I didn't really understand that because I thought it was just for looking at videos, but that was, really what started me looking at, people creating videos and responding to their audience and having a following. Um, so yeah, that was my first channel, and I had put my YouTube, creating thing on hold. It was just kind of like as that squirrel thing died down, so did my
Hmm.
interest in putting up videos. Um, but then somewhere in 2012, I had an interest in creating again, and then I had thought about, doing the whole partnership thing, but there was, that little thing called copyright infringement, and with that viral video, I did use a copyright song. So I decided, uh, when I did the AldyWaldy, to just do a new channel and try to get that partnered, and eventually it happened.
Yeah, I think the thing with viral videos is that you can never tell what's going to take off, and
Yeah,
it's often seemingly when you look at it, it's like completely random. But I think in the case of that video, it was to me what made it stats out for me was that you created a narrative around it. It was about this squirrel trying to climb up a wall, and
yeah.
in it, the way it was sort of presented and edited, it was very touching. Like when everyone was trying to put up these backpacks so it could help it climb up.
Yeah, I feel really bad because I don't know who put up that first backpack, and he really started, the whole story thing, because like me and my friends who were watching, it was just we were just watching them, struggling. But the guy who put down the first backpack, that's when it became a story of,
Yeah,
like people helping this little animal that really, eventually he would have learned it. But
yeah.
you know,
You could see that other squirrel jumping up and down is like trying to show him how to do it.
yeah,
Yeah. So I see you're also part of a Hunger Games fan site. Is that correct?
yeah. It's
You're the mayor of District 2. Is that something? You've got a Facebook page? Is that right?
Yeah, that was officially done by Lionsgate. They had this contest where they would choose a mayor, or they would open up elections, and people who wanted to run would, register. And there would be one winner per district. So there's 12 of us. And I happened to be selected, and it was kind of just, once you registered, you were given this special link, and
Mm-hmm.
it was your job to spread that around and get as many votes as possible. And it was a very crazy experience. I was, especially as it got closer to the ends of the elections and I saw that I was in the lead,
Hmm.
it was very nerve-wracking because I really wanted it. I thought it was really fun because I love the Hunger Games and it was the duties of a mayor is a lot of social media. And I thought it would be really fun to, kind of get to do that. And it ended up being, they actually asked about my Hunger Games experience during my interview with Maker. So it was mainly fun. It was a fun thing. It wasn't like an official position, but
Hmm.
it ended up working out for me because I did get to not many people who want to do social media get a chance to like speak to a very large audience on their
Mm.
own.
Yeah.
So that kind of helped me out because with the help of Lionsgate, I had like, people that wanted to get to know me and talk to me through social media. So yeah, that and through that, when that ended, when the movie came out, we didn't really do too much with Lionsgate anymore. But through that, I met a lot of people in the Hunger Games, fan site community, and I eventually got invited to be like a permanent writer for one of the websites. So,
Nice.
uh, yeah, that was really cool, and I did put that on my resume as well. So it was all just like
Yeah.
kind of a weird experience, but also really fun and really, I really got to use it to my advantage.
Mhm. So, is that something you just ended up applying for on a whim and it just kind of grew from there?
Yeah, I think I just saw it randomly on Facebook. I'd been looking forward to the Hunger Games movie, and I was a fan of the books. So I was just like, I'll apply and see what happens. And then when I started, when I was consistently on the leaderboard for the elections, I was like, kind of confused, but I had to keep going because I had gone that far. So yeah, it ended up being like a random, oh, I'll try it out, but as it got more serious, like I worked hard enough to get to the point where I want, and that really opened up a lot of doors for me, I think.
Yeah. So I guess when the new film comes out, is it Catching Fire? Is that it?
Yeah.
I guess. Well, do you think that you'll continue to be associated with it?
I really don't. I'm not sure because I feel like Lionsgate would have contacted us. It kind of just like died down
Mm.
as the movie was released. So some of the mayors do still keep in touch because we did work with each other. We were all in like different states and countries. So we worked with each other through like email and social media and stuff like that. But as far as like Lionsgate saying that something for sure was going to happen, that they still haven't contacted us. We still have this like small bit of hope that they will tell us
Yeah.
that we're still going to be involved, but we don't know anything for sure, and we probably won't know anything until a few months because Catching Fire doesn't come out until November. So yeah, we're just kind of just waiting to see what happens. But for the most part, some of our fans, quote unquote, they still do talk to us a little bit, not as much as before, but people still know that we were mayors, even if they don't like tweet us all the time anymore.
Cool. So, are there any future projects for the AldyWaldy down the line?
Um, I kind of am just, seeing because, like you mentioned before, my channel's like it's not really a set thing.
Hmm.
I vlog about a bunch of different things. Like I do things in my room and I do things outside at work or in public. So it's kind of just like what I want to do when the moment comes. So I don't really have any big plans or anything like that because yeah, it's most of my channel is just spontaneous, like what's current,
Mm.
what people are talking about, or what
Yeah.
I've been talking about. So I don't have any really set plans, just to um, keep making videos at least once a week.
Mm.
And I've been, especially since I work at Maker, it's as you probably could see, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot for me to do videos on. So, and it also like puts me in contact with, established YouTubers. So I think that is one thing that helps out my channel is, I get a lot of interesting opportunities to do videos on. So I just want to I just want to get to, for me, it's just getting milestones, subscriber milestones, because those are cool. Like I think the one that I'm going for right now is like 500 because
Uh-huh.
that's a nice even number,
Yeah.
and then 1,000, and then ultimately my big goal is to do 100,000 subscribers, because I think that's when YouTube like officially, well, they send you something when you get to
Yeah.
100,000. So that's what I ultimately want. But as long as people, are interacting with me and enjoying what I put up, that's really what I want from my channel is, getting to know. It's weird, like the age we live in. Like we get to know a lot of people,
Yeah.
having to actually meet them in person. But I think it's really fun. So yeah, just
Yeah.
keep uploading and see where that brings me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you just gotta keep going on, don't you? And not let anything get in your way.
Yeah, that's one thing that like kind of makes me sad is some people, when they start a channel, they don't become successful right away.
Yeah, and they expect that, yeah, and it doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
and people just need to think about like when authors write books, for the most part, their first few books are not going to do anything. Well, I mean, they'll do something in terms of helping them improve and stuff like that, but nothing is ever, it's not, you don't get anything that you want quickly. You have to work at it.
Mm,
So, and that's one thing that, a lot of people think that with a partnership, it's like it means that you're instantly going to become famous and
yeah.
successful on YouTube, but you still need to put in a lot of work and, really like what you're doing. So, hopefully everyone understands that when they sign up with, either RPM or another network. But as long as, YouTube creators like what they're doing, then that's really,
Yeah.
and if you get to be successful later on, then that's cool. But if you like what you're doing, then I think that's what people need to take from starting a YouTube channel.
Mm. Yeah, so I guess sort of one of the things when people create channels is that they want to be successful straight away, and a lot of the time that doesn't happen. And I've seen sort of YouTubers who are really big now, but they've been at it for a good number of years, and they've maybe had like a couple of thousand subscribers, and all of a sudden their channel just starts picking up momentum, and it just blows up, and they get over 100,000 subs.
Yeah,
So it's really cool to see people putting in that work.
yeah. And
Yeah.
you never know what video could be the one that, puts your channel up there.
Mm.
Um, and people, I think they give up before that ever happens. Um, I mean, if you are lucky enough that your first video ends up being a viral video and you don't have like any copyright issues, then that's great, but that's rarely going to happen. So, just like anything, it takes time, and if people have the patience to, go through that, then they'll see that they get a lot in return.
Yeah. So this is a question that I ask everyone who comes and does one of these interviews. So Aldrin, if a a video game developer came to you and said, Aldrin, you can create a completely new video game, what would it be and why?
New video game.
It can be anything
Um,
you want.
I think okay, I mean, this would take like a lot of work, and I feel like this would never exist. But I feel like it would be cool if like the developers had like a set storyline, and the person got to choose like a real life location for it to all take place. So I've always like I went to UCLA,
Hmm.
and I've always wanted to like play a video game that happens throughout my campus, just because I know it so well. And I always like when I'm bored specifically, I always imagine like, oh, what would happen if like a dragon came in the middle of the campus, and like what would we have to do, you know? And that's just my imagination going running wild. But I feel like it would be cool if like you could place a video game like the same story, but have it happen like in a certain location. That would be really cool. I don't think that's ever possible, but I would like to
Yeah.
see that happen.
Yeah, well, you never know with the next generation of consoles, it could
Yeah,
happen or something like that.
yeah.
So yeah. So Aldrin, what do you have to say to all the fans who have been following you throughout your vlogging career so far?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who, has taken an interest in my life just through my channel. There are a lot of people that I would love to meet eventually, but unfortunately, I can only, interact with them through comments online or tweets or whatever. So the fact that people are actually, interested in what I'm doing, and letting me know about it, I think that's really cool. Especially because I myself watch people and have that same, admiration for daily vloggers or people who create, you know, videos in general. So I just want to say thanks to people who actually think that I'm a cool guy, even though they've never met me.
Um, so I guess to close out, do you have any social media links that you would like to promote?
I mean, obviously my channel, but I think the biggest thing, if anyone wanted to get in contact with me, the thing that I use the most is
Mm-hmm.
my Twitter account, and my personal one is and then my last name, so Gamos, Agamos.
Mm-hmm.
So that I actually post a lot of things there. So my YouTube videos and just my regular thoughts, and links that I like online. So that's the thing that I use the most. So if you wanted to get in touch with me, I think that would be because you would find everything else through my Twitter. So
Okay, that's great. All the social links will be in the description below. So, Aldrin, thanks again for being a part of this. It's been really great talking to you.
thank you for taking the time to interview me. It was really cool.